Hey, what is up guys, Mixaplix here. In this video we're going to be doing Freehold, a new Battle for Azeroth dungeon as a Destruction Warlock. Unfortunately at the beginning was kind of cut off, though I think we only killed like 1 or 2 packs of NPCs anyway, so it's really nothing special. But I figured I'd do some light commentary over this video, so sit back and enjoy. So when you first work up to the first boss in this dungeon, Sky Captain Crag will actually just fly around and drop he'll drop this poison on the ground, which does I think about 15-20% a tick. I mean it's really strong shit. So you usually want to not stack together, but also kind of just always be ready to move. And unfortunately, it's just one of those annoying parts of this dungeon. This first path is just really annoying. The one thing you can do here that I learned from both Salutbag and Tally being in the groups is you can actually go to the right side in this dungeon and skip a lot of the really super hard packs and go directly to the boss. As you see in this upcoming pull, I stun it, but Tally, who is actually D. Carter, ends up spawning the Demon Commander from Demonology, and as you see, it pulls literally everything. And of course, I had to get a little chuckle in. It could be very dangerous right now. For the most part, at least in this dungeon, Demonology, it's just dangerous. I mean, especially when you're not necessarily trying to wipe all the time, it can get kind of annoying. But we just keep dropping Rain of Fire here. I try to stun as much as I can. I did drop my Infernal, and I'm using my Infernal to aid in the CC. But the Demon Commander again can make a dull run very interesting. Oh, also there, I believe one of these NPCs, I think it's the Enforcers. Or the Corsairs. It's one of these guys will actually cast a heal, which you have to kind of Alright, so on this boss, it's pretty straightforward. You do DPS him down a little bit. I think it's at maybe 90%, 85%, something like that. He will actually get off his mount. And let me see. I'm pretty sure it's about that early. He should drop off in just a moment here. Luckily, they did fix the despawning. Okay, yeah. So it was about 60%, 65%. If he did that before this fix, that would despawn him, and we would be screwed. But this boss is pretty easy. He does a revitalizing brew, which heals him for about 10% a tick. You have to interrupt that. Unfortunately, we only had a couple interrupts that were really reliable. Primarily the warrior, and then the mage. We probably could have had succubus or fellhunter. I mean, but I was using the imp instead here. Pretty easy boss though. It's simple burn fight. He does a cannon move in front of him as well, but that's on your tank to position it correctly. So kick the revitalizing brew and don't stand in bad stuff, and it's a pretty simple boss. Drop some decent loot as well.
Ahoy!
Alright, so on these, from this point on, there's this NPC called the Oarsman or Arsman or Armsman or Arsman. I don't know how to pronounce that. Words are hard, okay? But they do that ability right there, the High Tide. You have to basically CC or kill these guys first, because if you don't have good kicks, it can be very frustrating. So for future use, if you guys do reference this video for live or beta or whenever you do happen to get in or access this content, or C-Spout actually, never mind. Yeah, C-Spout has to get kicked. It's very annoying. So definitely kill those guys first if possible.
Now you look like respectable criminals. A pleasure doing business with you. Now, if you don't mind, I'll take me leave before me absence.
All right, for the next pulls, just before the second boss, the Council of Captains, there is a NPC here called the Brine Scale. The Brine Scale will do a frontal cone, which for some reason has an absurd range on it. It does a decent amount of damage. The thing is, if you have a tank, just make sure they point it away. As a DPS, you need to pretty much kill this right away. It's one of those things that has to die. Not immediately, but it's definitely less annoying if you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so on the Council of Captains, there is Captain Ghidorah. Then I can't remember what the other... I can't really see it on the screen here. Captain... I'm just going to call him Raul. Raul! So, Ghidorah is the first target here that you have to kill. Because she will do an ability that pretty much hits you for about 30 to 40% of your HP, depending on what you are. And it does, I think, about 4 different charges, but it's easily avoidable. You basically need to run to her and run to the left, I believe, or to the right. You basically just need to avoid her if you can. As long as you take 1 hit of it only, yeah, so it is the left side. As long as you only take 1 hit, you should be fine. If you take 2, you will most likely die. So it's she definitely has to go immediately. Then for the other guy, who I call Raul, does barrel smash, which is just a little AoE, easily avoidable. He does a ability that's barrel something. Yeah, I'll probably add an icon of this in post, but for the it's simple little barrel you have to kill. Unfortunately, right now the blackout barrel, it's currently, it can bug out. As you see, this one is 119 for some reason. So I think I actually missed a spell on it. I think at one point I was doing this, I was like, oh, miss. Yeah, it actually missed right there. So unfortunately, that's just a bug on alpha. It's not going to be like that on live. But pretty easy boss. Just have to kill the little Volpera NPC, and it's pretty much GG from that point on. Alright, so this is the third boss. It's kind of like a Ring of Blood kind of event. It's called the Ring of Booty. Here we got Ludwig von Tortolan, who is a pretty easy boss. The only mechanics he has is his turtle shells bouncing from side to side. That's really all he does. He does some minor tank damage, but nothing to really scoff at. The one thing that I'm really hoping they add in maybe like a Mythic or Mythic Plus version or something, he needs more abilities at the moment, even for the first boss, because he's not the main attraction here. It just needs something else. I mean, it's kind of boring. I mean, it's cool, but I just wish there was something else to kind of add on to it. And I mean, all the other fights have crazy mechanics. Even for a mini boss, it'd be kind of cool if he had maybe like one other thing he could do. All right, so we are on the final boss, Shrodthak, I guess that's how you pronounce it. He basically is the final boss here. It's probably second to hardest boss in here, I would say, mainly because of the room is bugged out visually right now. But he will throw these sawtooth sharks at you, which will, when they land to you, will do about 10% HP or so. And if the sharks, or if you don't move, the sharks will just sit there and gnaw at you pretty hard, actually. They hit for about 8 to 9% a hit. Definitely stuff you just have to avoid. I personally set up a gateway right here, which I forgot to do right away. But if they are right on you, you can just go ahead and pour it over. I somehow took damage there. Not exactly sure how that happened, but for the most part, it is kind of a simple boss. I mean, it's not really difficult. It just, when you get hit, you tend to get hit pretty hard. Sharknado is an ability that melee will have to get out of, including the tank, as it does substantial damage. But overall, we had really good damage in here. 2 warlocks do a lot of damage. Tally actually, I believe at this point, went to destruction, and the rogue, or not the rogue, but the mage that we have was doing pretty good. One quick little thing here, I actually didn't notice this until around. I was like, where the hell are they going? It turns out you can actually skip this pack if you were on Mythic Plus. It's something you could use for future use. You simply go above onto this building and then jump over. I was trying to figure out the right angle without pulling. Luckily, it worked just fine. There's enough space there to not aggro, which is good. All right, so we are working towards the final boss, Harlen Suite, and these NPCs leading up to him are very unique. The Stormcallers will cast Lightning Bolt in a channeled thunderstorm, which you can interrupt. I believe, I'm not sure if Thundering Squall is the channeled right there. And I think the Ravagers might cast this ability. We'll have to see on this next pull here. But they cast a pretty interesting ability, and it could have a lot of good application. Yeah, it's definitely there. Actually, hold on. So we have an Oarsman, a Buccaneer. Okay, so it is a Ravager. So they cast an ability called Painful Motivation. Now, Painful Motivation basically gives them 45% increased damage, but they kill themselves, I think, 6% per tick. So this could have a lot of good applications for Mythic Plus, mainly because you could probably set up CC on this bridge, chain CC, knock back. As long as they have this debuff, they'll kill themselves effectively. This could probably work with a Demon Hunter. You know, even, I mean, I'm trying to think of the tanks that could kite with ease. Maybe Druid, definitely DK. So yeah, it could be interesting to see what people do in terms of Mythic Plus with that particular NPC debuff. It's considered a buff, but it really is a debuff at the end of the day. But most of these packs are pretty simple. They're just a little bit big. The Stormcallers are just things you got to interrupt, kill. The Thunderstorm that they channel doesn't really do a lot of damage, so it's nothing to really worry about. All right, so we are on the final boss, Harlen Suite. Pretty interesting boss. He has a couple mechanics here. As a ranged, you're going to want to stay at max distance if possible. At certain points in the fight, he will target you for artillery bombing. It does drop patches on the ground. You simply got to, if you did Gul'dan on Nighthold and how you kind of place those patches on the final phase, it's basically the same thing. As you see there, yeah, it's slightly delayed, so it's pretty easy. As long as you position yourself correctly, it's pretty much easy. He also does something blades, whirling blades or something like that. It's pretty easy to tell when this ability is coming out, as you see right there. The first one he does, it's only 3, but from that point on, it's I think a full star at that point. So there is a little holes or gaps in those that you can simply avoid. So that's pretty much the whole fight. Just avoid stuff, stay at max range. If you're melee, it's a tough fight. It's actually the hardest fight in here for melee because those do so much damage. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the ad spawn during the fight, which those just have to be killed immediately and before they reach their target. Otherwise, they kill them. So, or almost kill them. So there you guys have it. Thanks to Tally for DPSing and bringing in his group of stream followers to fill in this group. We actually got a pretty good queue time on this dungeon. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed Destruction Warlock. If you did, smash that like button. If you didn't, dislike it. It's all good. Stay tuned for more Battle for Azeroth content in the coming days. Thanks for watching, guys.